Right. The Silver Legion is a non-physical group of light warriors. Some of us are incarnates like myself, but the vast majority of the Silver Legion is not incarnated on Earth. We have a realm of our own in which we normally reside, and we also have a space fleet of our own, which we have currently parked in orbit in this system around this planet, and also in this system in a few other places. What we are doing is we're involved with the Earth Liberation Project. We're part of the Liberation Forces. We are now officially members of the Galactic Federation of Planets, as we now have a planet. Okay. And what we're doing is we're working here as much as we can, non-physically, to attempt to free humanity on Earth, remove the hostile influence that has been 26,000 years building on this planet in order to take us over, and free this planet so that every human being, man, woman, child, and everything on this planet has an opportunity to be free and live the life they were meant to live without all the BS that we're currently going through.
Okay, let me ask you, where are we currently at in that process, or where are you guys currently at in that process as far as Earth's liberation?
Well, there is a lot going on behind the scenes. It's one of these things where I couldn't really give you a percentage point, but we're definitely making progress. And it's one of these things where it looks like there's no progress to everybody until the moment when we actually have a breaking point, in which case things will become very obvious to everybody very quickly. And we haven't reached that point yet, though there's a lot of work going on with a lot of different groups, not just the Silver Legion. A lot of people are doing this work, and we're hoping to see some results soon. I can't give an ETA. This is a war. I'm not kidding when I say it's a war. People have died. People fight. And in a war, any kind of time estimate is an estimate, because you're opposed. When you're opposed, sometimes the other side does things that changes your timelines. Sometimes things have to happen a lot quicker than you expected. Sometimes things drag on and on. So, I can't give deadlines, but I am going to say that things look pretty good from our end, even if it's not much change from the view of the average participant here on the planet.
Well, before we get into the next question, one of the things that I want
we also found a number of soul prisons and soul traps set up around Earth, including a very large cube just outside the solar system proper in the Kuiper Belt, which we destroyed, freed many, many prisoners, and began the process of, the Andromeda Council began the process of rehabilitating the souls. We do not have the kind of medical manpower required for that kind of work. We are a legion, we're an active army, so we're not a medical service and don't always have the manpower and the ability required to do mass healings on that scale. But we did free them up and get them to the people who could. And we found actually several more different kinds of soul prisons and soul traps set up around Earth. Many of them were designed to basically have passed back down in a cycle of samsara or reincarnation here on Earth, after wiping their memory and convincing them that they had to get back down here at all costs, or, they were a terrible person, either fixing mistakes or living a paradise life, neither of which came true. So, we've destroyed a lot of that. Anybody who's passed recently within, I'd say, the last 30 years or so, is, unless they came back right away, which is very rare because the process of reconditioning usually takes a number of decades. But if they've passed in the last 30 years or so, they're probably free now in the fourth dimension, able to choose what they're going to do now, whether they want to go to Source and spend some time, whether they want to reincarnate here on Earth or elsewhere, whether or not they want to go to another dimension. That's within their choice now. But yeah, we did a lot of work freeing, and we have also been trying to do our best to pacify certain activities on Earth to make sure that certain outcomes do not come into play.
Okay.
We're still alive. And actually, I've heard that, a lot of people are disillusioned by the fact that nothing happened on the 21st and basically rage quit the whole movement because of it. Well, just because nothing happened on the arbitrary date set by the cabal and by the Greys and by the enemies does not mean that nothing is happening. That date was planted. It was planted deliberately to create fear, and since they weren't able to pull off their mass disaster, the secondary effect of it is everybody now thinks, oh, nothing happened, nothing's going to happen. That's not the case. Get this 2012 stuff out of your head. It was never important.
No, it wasn't. And in actuality, the whole thing was based upon a Gregorian calendar, and anybody that had the Mayan knows that their calendars were always based on were lunar based. So it was based on the moon, and for them, hell, it's probably the year 4000 or something.
Yeah, who knows? It might not even be the right date. At any rate, December 21st, 2012 was not important from a big boom boom firework standpoint. Its importance was far more subtle and far less immediately visible, but important in terms of, well, energetically speaking, we've won. Now we just have to play the rest of the game to the finish line. Okay,
there was a caller that was...
One thing that I'm going to stress is nobody panic. No matter what things look like, don't panic. It's never as bad as the mainstream media spins it. It's never as bad as Alex Jones spins it. Remember, a lot of the alternative media is just as controlled as the mainstream. And I'm not saying that's the case with Vegas All Net Radio, and I'm certainly not saying that's the case with the Talk with Vince show. But be aware that a lot of these really, really big ticket alternative news sources like Alex Jones are controlled. They're either doing it consciously or because they're coerced, or they're doing it out of fear, but they're doing it.
And so there is a lot of fear-mongering that's going on.
Oh, definitely.
And they have to continuously reinvent the wheel, so to speak, when things that they've said are going to come to pass that have not come to pass.
Mm-hmm. Yep. That's one of the reasons that we don't give ETAs, because we know things change. We have to be able to roll with the punches. If we promise something and we can't deliver, that's a problem.
Now, when you speak of the cabal, how entrenched are they at the very top levels of government?
Well, without being able to name names or go into too much detail, I would say that it's safe to say it's thoroughly infiltrated. I don't know who all the individuals are. My people do have that information, but I'm not privy to it. It's very, very compromised, not just in the U.S., but pretty much everywhere. All the Western governments are majorly compromised. Most of the other governments in the world are majorly compromised. However, there has been efforts made by some countries to rid themselves of this. One country in particular is often highly demonized in the United States, and this country is a lot more free than we ever thought, and has always been a lot more free than we've ever thought.
How many...
Propaganda aside.
Yeah, let me...
Thank you. But yes, we do, and the reason we haven't yet is because this is a war and we're opposed. If this was a one-sided thing where we could just come in and do whatever we wanted, we would have had that long ago. There would have been aid on this planet long ago. People would be free right now. But we're opposed, and there have been all kinds of redundancies and tricks put into place to keep us from interfering.